So let's dive on in because we got a lot to discuss. So Reed Richards, also known as Mr. Fantastic, is the leader of the Fantastic Four, and he can stretch his body to great distances due to his exposure to cosmic rays while out in outer space. He's also considered to be one of the smartest men in the entire universe. Now Reed's main superpower is his complete control over his super elastic body, which allows him to use it for both offensive and defensive purposes. He can squeeze through openings, sometimes as small as the breadth of a molecule, stretch up to 3 miles long, and flatten himself to be as thin as a piece of paper. He's even been able to expand his lungs to allow him to hold his breath longer and shorten the synapses between his brain in order to process information faster. Mr. Fantastic can also concentrate all of his elasticity into one area of his body. For example, if he concentrated all into his fist, then he's able to turn it into a great offensive weapon and can increase his size and strength considerably. Reed can also reflect sharp weapons like bullets and knives, but he is not completely invulnerable. Though it's difficult, he has been cut before. Because Reed is like rubber, if he's exposed to extreme heat, then he will melt, or extreme cold and he'll freeze. Mr. Fantastic doesn't really care for violence though, so he'll usually wrap an opponent up or smother them until they give in. While Reed has many impressive physical feats, his greatest power is his intellect. He is one of the 8 smartest men in the entire Marvel Universe, and it's been said that Reed himself is as smart as entire alien civilizations. Galactus himself said Reed possessed an universally relevant intelligence. He's a pioneer in physics, chemistry, biology, computing, medicine, and basically everything else. And then we have Plastic Man. So sleazy thief Patrick Eel O'Brien was saved by Batman from a vat of acid, and this vat gave him incredible power to bend his body into any imaginable form. He was usually seen as the comedian for any team that he's on, but underneath this joking exterior, he's a valuable asset in any situation. When Plastic Man fell into the vat of acid, he underwent a body-wide mutagenic process where he gained complete control over his molecular structure. He exists in a fluid state, either entirely liquid or solid. He can change his density at will, ranging from as dense as a rock to as flexible as a rubber band. Plastic Man is able to stretch his body and limbs to superhuman lengths, and there is absolutely no known limit to how far he can stretch his body. He's also capable of altering his size, ranging from just a few inches tall or growing up to be the size of skyscrapers. Eel is able to contort his body into incredible and impossible shapes, like turning entirely flat to slip under a door or using his fingers to pick locks. Thanks to his fluid state, he's able to open holes in his body and turn himself into objects with mobile parts. In addition, he can alter his body mass, and there's really no limit to the size and shapes that he can contort himself into. Plastic Man's powers also greatly enhance his durability, to the point where bullets, energy blasts, and high-velocity impacts simply bounce off of him. In fact, Batman even once said that he believed Plastic Man could survive a nuclear explosion. And if Batman believes that, it's probably true. If for some reason Plastic Man is hurt though, he has an incredible regenerative ability. He was even able to survive and regenerate after being separated and split apart into different molecules for 3,000 years. So who do I think wins this battle? Well, first, let's break it down. So obviously, the two have very similar powers, but they're not exactly the same. You see, Mr. Fantastic is able to use his elastic body to stretch up to 3 miles long, and he can flatten himself to be as thin as a piece of paper. He can also expand his lungs, change the size of his corneas, and shrink the synapses in his brain in order to process information faster. On the other hand, Plastic Man isn't in a solid state like Mr. Fantastic. He's actually in a fluid state, not necessarily solid or liquid. He also has 100% control over his molecular structure and can change the density of his body at will. He's also much more flexible than Mr. Fantastic. He can grow to the size of skyscrapers, can contort his body into absolutely any shape, which Reed can't do. Now, Mr. Fantastic, he's incredibly durable thanks to his flexibility, but he's been cut before. Plus, his body's a lot like rubber, which means that he'll melt under heat or freeze with extreme cold. Not so for Plastic Man. Yeah, he's been injured before, but he's been able to survive even his molecules splitting apart, and then was able to regenerate afterwards. Plus, Plastic Man doesn't have organs like you or me, so you can't really attack his brain or his lungs or his heart. Also, while Reed does have a black belt in judo and will fight if the need arises, he isn't the kind of person to go for the kill. He much prefers to entangle his opponents or wrap himself around them and smother them. And this just isn't going to work for Plastic Man because he is just as flexible, if not more flexible, than Mr. Fantastic. So all this looks to be pointing towards a victory for Plastic Man. But we're missing one very important factor in the fight: intelligence. Now, by no means is Plastic Man an idiot, but when you're battling against one of the 8 smartest men in the Marvel Universe, you're not going to be able to outsmart him. On the other hand, Reed has taken down countless opponents who were immensely powerful simply by relying on his intelligence. Man, he's even beaten Galactus before with just his brain. So what does this mean? Well, here's the thing. Reed is a master of preparation, and that's really how he beats most of his powerful opponents, by preparing plans and building weapons capable of taking them down. But in a random encounter, which this is, he doesn't have time to prepare a strategy or build equipment. So thanks to his greater ability and powers, Plastic Man takes the victory. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts, so sound off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to go over and follow and like my Danco Facebook page and Twitter page for updates on when videos are posted and hints at future videos. And also, I have started a second channel. It's very exciting. It's called Danco Reviews, and we're just going to talk about movies. One of my favorite things. So if you want to hear my thoughts about Doctor Strange, which is actually out on that channel right now, go over and check it out. Or you want to talk about Moana, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, or Rogue One, go over and